welcome you back to the 58th round of VVV Gaming's The Losers Bracket. Big news out of WCG. We'll get to that in just a second. We've got VVV Southern Comfort that's going to be on the show, talking about Halo. Roar's going to be on talking about StarCraft, Rolento, and Call of Duty. Stay tuned for lots and lots of good updates. But right now, let's move on over to WCG. This past week, the first batch of titles was just announced for the 2011 Grand Finals. These are the titles that people will be able to qualify in to go represent their nations in from around the world in South Korea for the Grand Finals this year. And this is quite a list. Some titles that are missing, some titles that are additions that are a little bit surprising. Let me read this off for you real quick. The WCG 2011 is going to include FIFA 2011, StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty, League of Legends, Warcraft 3 The Frozen Throne, Special Force, Counter-Strike 1.6, Crossfire, Tekken 6, and then last but not least, or, well, least maybe in Jerry's eyes, World of Warcraft Cataclysm. Guys, what do you think about this game list?
Well, I think the big winner here is Riot. I think nobody can deny that League of Legends getting a seat at the World Cyber Games is big news. We already knew when they got a major investor in the Chinese firm, things were going to happen, and I think this kind of is the rest of the story. So I think for League of Legends fans, this is big news. The game is accessible of the big three, Dota being the oldest and sort of age and having its time, and then Heroes of North. And then this, League of Legends, is probably the most accessible of the three, most casual friendly. And I think the World Cyber Games probably did a good job in picking up this game, but I really think the real credit goes to Riot. They had a lot of really good goals, and I think that they stuck to their guns. They believed in their product when a lot of people were skeptical. And most importantly, they picked up, I think, the right people to manage the community and get enough competitive input. I think all in all, it's really good for Riot. So I think that's really the big story of this WCG selection, because the rest of the games, to be honest, are no surprise to me.
I'm going to have to agree with you there, Jerry. One big point of contention with this list that I've seen throughout the competitive community has been that StarCraft 2 was added, and Brood War is no longer on the list of games that are going to be played at the event. A lot of people seem to think, wow, Brood War's been a staple. It's been with the WCG since its inception. And frankly, I got to be honest, I think this was a bit of a no-brainer. A lot of people feel like, hey, StarCraft 1 is such a great competitive game to watch. It's always been there. It's been a staple. How could they not have switched over to StarCraft 2? There's so much global interest in the game. Outside of Korea, StarCraft 1 really isn't that big at the moment. It has been eclipsed by the sequel with the GSL, NASL, all these major leagues out there picking up StarCraft 2. Interest has never been higher in the RTS genre, at least with a new title. I think that right now, this was the perfect time for them to swap over. Great move by the WCG, in my mind.
I don't think they had a choice. They, first and foremost, have to be an international competition, and the world clearly has moved on to StarCraft 2. And most importantly, we have so much going on in North America for StarCraft 2, and it involves all the major organizations, e.g., clearly, I think it's huge news that Idra is going to be coming back to the States, but I think that's fantastic for the North American scene. It's what we need here. So EG is clearly going to have, I think, arguably them and Root and a few others. All the major organizations are involved in StarCraft 2. So everything that WCG does now has to be with StarCraft 2 in mind.
That's exactly true. Brood War had a good run. And it was only right for them to pick up StarCraft 2, especially with the amount of hype StarCraft 2 has gotten since its release. More and more people are getting onto StarCraft 2 every day. GSL, more people are tuning into GSL nowadays to watching StarCraft 2 rather than Brood Wars. I look at what MLG is doing. I see all the Halo pros. They're all tweeting, done with Halo for the day. Got to jump on StarCraft 2. All of them now are trying to get into StarCraft 2. It's just picked up so much more hype over Brood War. It was only the right thing to do.
Yeah, and to sort of add to that, I don't want to get too academic in our conversation, but there have been a couple grad students who have been taking a really close look at what spectatorship means in video games. There's a field of study, for those who don't know, called human factors, basically looking at human behavior, and it's a sort of multidisciplinary field where you can kind of look at things that influence what human beings do, how they interact with technology. They're going to be presenting on the increase in spectatorship. They're presenting a paper in, I do believe it's going to be British Columbia in Vancouver at something called the CHI. I think it's some kind of conference for human interaction or something like that, or human factor analysis or something like that in May. And this is going to happen in Vancouver. And they're presenting a paper, as I said, about what video game spectatorship means, what it means for the industry, what it means for how human beings interacting with video games is changing. So I think in a lot of ways, StarCraft is a game changer on many levels because it's involving so many competitive organizations. It's got a broad appeal. Let's face facts. It requires skill and an enormous amount of intellect to play. And it's also, in my humble opinion, complex enough that it's one of those where, like football, not everyone can play football. And StarCraft is just like that. Not everyone can play StarCraft, at least not at the level where you're looking at, 350, 400 actions per minute. Many people can't do that. I think because it's got that kind of a skill level, a lot of people are willing to spectate it and watch the best people play. I think it's a sheer pleasure. There's intrigue. It's exciting. It's got it's got everything needed. We have sort of this perfect storm. And, I think I'm probably not the only person who feels that if we can't build great competitive gaming around StarCraft 2, both globally and here in the U.S., we can do it with other titles as well, but on the PC and putting us in the international community, then I'm not sure we'll ever do it. So I think this is just fantastic on every level, and I think the World Cyber Games is going to be very exciting. At least the StarCraft 2 is going to be very exciting.
And, with Brood War now being taken off, it took Blizzard multiple years to create StarCraft 2. But I think with the amount of time that they spent in making it, it paid off for them because it's pretty much close to perfect. I mean, you see a lot of games get rushed and they come out and they're horrible to play. So they did a really good job making this game. And, I mean, it's worth watching nowadays. I mean, it's getting so much more hype every day. But the only thing I don't like out of all these list of games for WCG this year, World of Warcraft. I tried watching that before at MLG, and I don't see it that entertaining to watch, honestly. I don't think it's a title that should be worth qualifying as a WCG title, I'd say. And I also think with Tekken, Tekken's a good one, yeah, but I think Marvel vs. Capcom 3 should have been up there.
I think that came down to licensing. I have a feeling that when it comes to anything dealing with Capcom, it's difficult for leagues to get licensing. But again, that's pure speculation. I think there is one other thing really worth talking about, and that is the Crossfire edition. I mean, I don't want to make this VV-centered when I say this, but we probably have the best North American Crossfire team, for sure in the top two. Based on their LAN performance when they were in China, they clearly are the best North American team. I think Crossfire, at least for us, is a really big win, and I think it's a really good signal to free-to-play games. Because Crossfire is free-to-play. It has a very loyal following. I can tell you from VV Gaming's website traffic where we get our traffic from. As someone who's used to AAA titles and all the big games, so to speak, Crossfire is definitely not there because it's not popular. It is a very popular game. The numbers are there. And again, it's a big nod to the free-to-play genre. So all in all, I think it would be very difficult to say that, with the exception of World of Warcraft, and even then, I suppose if you're going to have a cozy relationship with Blizzard, what the hell, you might as well include it, even though if you are an MMO player, you should be playing Rift. But, outside of that, I think it's a great lineup. The only question is, will they add Guitar Hero back when they release whatever their other games are, or is this going to be absent of any rhythm games? That's probably my only question.
Yeah, I guess that ends up being the big question at the end of the day. And I know for a fact that the rhythm gaming community is quite upset. I've heard a lot of people being very vocal that Warriors of Rock is not on this list of games. I know myself, having competed in WCG before for Guitar Hero, it really hurts to see that the most competitive game that has ever come out in the series is not included in the list. Whereas over the last 2 years, we had Guitar Hero World Tour and Guitar Hero 5 on the circuit, and they're not competitive games in regards to things like Guitar Hero 3 or Warriors of Rock. So, does it really bite to see that it's not on the list? Yes. Is there a chance that it still might make the cut? Of course. There are still more titles to be announced. This was only the first batch. They have released a quote that says, hey, we are going to release other titles. That includes promotional and mobile. Here's fingers crossed that they will bring Warriors of Rock back to finish out the series strong.
Let me just mention this, though, that Activision, although they may not be making Guitar Hero games this year, they have come out today and talked about, back in 2008, they mentioned that they were making a game called Dance Hero, a new franchise. Well, today they did come out and said it is being developed currently as we speak, and they don't know what systems or consoles it's going to be on yet, nor do we have a release date, but they said it's in production at the moment. So there are still rhythm games being made.
Let's be honest here. If Activision would rather create Dance Hero than Guitar Hero, perhaps rhythm gaming as a competitive title is going down the tubes. I really hope that we get some clarification on this. I mean, at first we heard there wasn't going to be any more Guitar Hero downloadable content, no more DJ Hero downloadable content. That was actually reversed. There is new downloadable content coming out both this month and next month. No word on beyond April. But I suppose we'll see the future of rhythm gaming over these next couple months, see what the WCG has in store. And just to remind you all, there is still a thread ongoing on scorehero.com where I have posted an idea about what people would think if MLG was to do a one-off Guitar Hero event later this year. There has been a ton of discussion. Last time I checked, we're nearing around 200 different posts in the topic about what people think of the idea. It's been rather interesting. If you get the chance, go check it out. Scorehero.com. It's in their miscellaneous Guitar Hero discussion section. This could be the saving grace for Guitar Hero if MLG, even if it was to, say, do a one-off national championship where they could do it once a year, get people to come out. That would be phenomenal. It would keep the rhythm gaming community, the competitive side of it, engaged and looking forward to hopefully new titles in the future. We'll see what happens, though.
Either way, with or without Guitar Hero, as much as I'd love to see it there, I think it's a strong lineup, a lot of good titles. Like I said, to sum it up, Riot comes out to me, the big winner. The Crossfire community finally getting its day in the sun. Good for the free-to-play genre. Overall, solid lineup. Let's hope to see a good mobile game. Let's hope to see a good promotional title. And let's hope to see a rhythm game. If they do that, I think it'll be a perfect World Cyber Games event. They'll be back in South Korea for the World Finals. They'll be in their home field, so to speak. So I think it's going to be a fantastic event.
Let's move on to some MLG news. We're right about 3 weeks away from the season opener in Dallas. And we're going to start this week's MLG news off with some Call of Duty. Mr. Relent, welcome back. There's a lot of big information coming out this week. I heard there's prizes. Give us some details.
Yeah, Sundance finally released the Call of Duty information. He released the prizes, what we have to use as far as wired controllers, Xbox controllers, and they also released online qualifier for the first event, Dallas. Prize money, it's starting off first place is $10,000, second place $6,000, and third place $4,000, and it just slowly drops down. Pretty good prize pool. Nationals will have a first place prize pool of $50,000, which looks very nice. Online qualifiers have started already. You got a lot of the big teams playing in it. This will probably set the seeds for Dallas since there's no other way for seeds. As far as how we're doing, Motivation's in 15th place right now. And I don't believe Sick by Nature has played in it yet. So we'll see how that works.
Sounds good all the way around. Now, I also heard a rumor that there might be another team or two applying to VVV Gaming for Call of Duty. Can you give us any word on that?
Well, a few teams have asked about us. The Influence, who's currently, laddering a lot right now. They're fighting between first and second every day. Leverage, the team that won the 25K and who's also laddering around top 5 right now. So we'll see how those things work out for us, and there'll be more news as it goes by.
All right, Relent, I really appreciate the update. Make sure you stop on back in the next couple weeks. I want to hear all the Call of Duty updates leading up to Dallas. It's only 3 weeks away till we're kicking some ass out there, my friend. You ready?
Oh yeah, we're ready for sure.
Awesome. I'm really looking forward to it. Let's continue moving right along. I want to hop into StarCraft 2. We've also got VVV Roar here this week. Roar, how are things going on the StarCraft side? Feeling prepared for Dallas?
Oh, we're feeling great for Dallas. Us just going with the flow here. Everyone's getting ready for MLG, preparing up. They released their map pool on the North American server, so everyone's kind of just playing around, diddle-daddling with that, just trying out their strategies. On to some ESAA news. We're halfway done. We're currently 8-1. We are playing Root tonight in the SCL Finals at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The start map is going to be Lost Temple for all you that want to tune in. We have a great roster out there, and Root's probably going to field a pretty powerful roster. It's going to have huge names. They are definitely a force to be reckoned with. I'm sure Murder here, though, he's here with us. He's going to explain a little bit about our game plan. He's going to show how we're going to crush them. So I'm going to go and let him take the floor and explain a little bit of how that's going to go.
Before Murder does take the floor, I have to jump in and say, Ben, welcome to the Losers Bracket. Congrats on absolutely backsmacking EG last week, taking out 3 of their members by yourself. Congratulations, my friend. Welcome to the show. How are you tonight?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. Thanks for having me tonight. That EG Claymore felt good. I felt like time was carrying us pretty hardcore this whole SCL run, so having a good performance last week really meant a lot to me.
All right, Ben, it really is great to have you on the show. So let's talk a little bit. I know we just talked about the win over EG. Obviously, it was minus Idra, but the rest we'll say were readily handled. This week, Root Gaming, what's going to be the big challenges? What are you guys doing to prepare?
Yeah, I think we're doing a lot to prepare. I see a lot more laddering. We're using our European accounts, our Korean accounts, our North American accounts. We're playing custom games. I think everyone really wants to put in good effort this week, and I think we're pretty confident. I think a lot of us have been having some good results as of late, so I think Root needs to prepare for us. I think we're looking pretty good right now, to be honest.
I like the confidence. I really do. Who would you say is Root's top player and the one you have to watch out for?
I'm always looking out for Kiwikaki as far as our lineup goes. I think Drewby's pretty solid, but I think Kiwikaki is certainly their strongest player.
For those that may not be as familiar with this exact format, tell everyone a little bit about how these matches are played, maps, what it's going to be like when they start spectating come Thursday.
All right, well, we'll start off with a starting map. It'll be on Lost Temple. Basically, teams will decide their starting player based on that map. So you might put a Terran on Lost Temple or a Zerg on Metalopolis. So from there, you play it out. The winner moves on to play other members of the team, and there's 4 players in each team. I'll run you down, last week against EG. VVV started, the map was starting on Metalopolis, and we played Angry against, I believe, a Zerg player. Angry lost that, so then we had to choose our player, who we wanted to send out next. We decided to send out me. I was feeling confident that night, and I said, give me the shot. I'm going to take him out. The first map I chose coming out, and then as I beat the other players on EG, they each selected a map and came in to play me. So they kind of have the map choice advantage, but you only get 4 players. So once your 4 players are eliminated, the clan war's over. You have to take out each player on the team, and if you can't do that, you lose.
Got it. So a lot of people I expect are going to be spectating this Thursday as this is the finals. And on behalf of all of us, I want to wish you a lot of luck in that. But before we let you go, I want to talk a little bit about the North American Star League. There was a voting for this, but I think we have a lot about that. I think a lot of people in VVV Gaming, as a matter of fact, I think everybody in VVV Gaming knows Murder, knows a lot about you. But let's pretend there's somebody out there who doesn't know anything about you. Tell them a little bit about your StarCraft background and what race you play, and then a little bit about who Ben is as a person and what you do outside of playing StarCraft.
All right. Well, I guess I'll start outside of StarCraft first, just so you get a little idea of who I am. My name is Ben Cardwell. I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm 20. I'm in college right now. I'm a sophomore. I tutor here at the university. I'm a peer tutor in the Writing Center. I go to school full time, so I kind of have a job and I go to school. And obviously I play StarCraft 2 professionally. I didn't play StarCraft 1. I come from Warcraft 3. I think a lot of people know that. I played beta, though. I came right into beta in StarCraft 2. I believe it was Phase 2 I really started playing a lot. That was back in the summertime, so I really played a lot. Practiced hard. Got pretty good, I think. I mean, I qualified for the IEM, which was last year, late last year, I should say. Other than that, I've had a pretty good presence. I've had pretty good results. I had to take a little bit of a break last semester for college. Things got really busy with school and work, but here this semester I've been practicing a lot more. Right now I'm preparing, for MLG coming up, 3 weeks. Preparing for the NASL. I hope to get in there, and I can't wait for it. I think it's huge for gaming in general. Really excited right now.
So what do you know about the North American Star League? Anything about its sponsors or anything about, we've looked at the contracts, obviously, but for those who don't know much about it, what do we know so far?
I wish I knew more about it, to be honest, but I think there's just a lot of hype around it. I think there's been a long wait for this kind of thing. We've only seen it in Korea, and I think a lot of us StarCraft fans and StarCraft players and the whole community really is kind of envious of the whole GSL, the Winners League and the Pro League in Korea. I think those are really things that a lot of us would certainly love to see here. We were thinking it was down the road. Hearing it's something as close as a few months away is just, I think it blows it blows my mind. It's incredible.
Yeah, I don't know a lot either. Roar, I know you've been looking into it. What do we know? Any details?
All right. As Murda was expanding on the NASA, we really don't know all that information. I mean, Team Liquid does have a Q&A section, and that's about all we can really pull from it. Jerry, you mentioned sponsors. Well, we have a little quote here. It says, sponsors. We're sponsored by pennies we picked up from various ponds and fountains around the world. The money is there and ready to be given out to some amazing players. So clearly, the sponsors don't want to be revealed yet for whatever reason. I'm not really sure what is behind it. For those of you wondering out there, they are offering 3 different streams. They're having a high-quality stream that you pay for, a free stream, and then like a super premium stream. And there's going to be 650 kilobytes, 800 kilobytes, and then 3 megabytes connection type speed. And basically, we are taking in 50 players, and that is going to be the cap, and I believe 16 qualify for the actual going down to California to compete on stage. And they're having a stage that's going to fit around 2,000, they're estimating around. So really, we're waiting for more information to be released, but everything's happening very quickly. Contracts are due soon. Promotional videos that people are making are due soon. And then, sooner or later, before you know it, the league's going to be happening.
Well, Roar, thank you for that update. Here's hoping, fingers crossed, that we'll get a little bit more information in the next coming weeks. With NASL being right around the corner, we're really, and I'm sure that you're just as anxiously awaiting to get some more news on this league. So thank you once again for stopping by. Any shout-outs before we move on?
Oh, as always, there's always too many. Shout out to the whole entire sponsor team. Keep doing what you're doing. Tonight we can actually go back-to-back SCL championships. Shout out to Mr. Relent, my favorite Call of Duty manager in the world. Geez, just too many people. Like I said, shout out to the whole entire community, SC2, VV, love you all. Keep it sexy.
2 major MLG titles out of the way. Let's go to the last but not least, of course, Halo Reach. Spikemouth, what's going on in the world of MLG Halo?
A couple of big announcements this week. They announced NOS Energy will be the official energy drink of Major League Gaming. And they also announced that Big Flex 4 will continue to run the FFAs this year. It's big because I've never had NOS before. A lot of people haven't tried NOS. So it'll be a new thing for a lot of these gamers. But aside from that, we have 2 major lands coming up before Dallas. We We have one on March 17th through the 21st, which will consist of 6 teams at the LAN network, being Darkest Hour, Swagger Like Us, Triggers Down, Instinct, Impact, and Status Quo. And then March 24th through the 28th, we will have Triggers Down, Final Boss, Instinct, Warriors, Believe the Hype, and Power. No real team changes. I mean, we're pretty much all set. The only real team change that happened was Impact, who used to be Sicker Than Your Average, who were forced to change their team name. They picked up Neighbor in place of Blaze. So this will be their first showing of how their new team is with Neighbor, which will be a good LAN to watch. If you guys want to tune in the LAN network, fortunately you have to pay for it. But, I mean, it'll be worth watching to see some of these top teams go at it.
Well, I know you said there were a couple of major LANs coming up, but there is a LAN coming up this weekend here in Orlando. And one of our own VVV teams is going to be attending, and I do believe we've got 2 of the players here on the show with us this week. Justin, if you could introduce them, and we can get a little bit of information on what they're going to be doing this weekend, I'd love to hear it.
All right, today we have VVV Hero and VVV Meltdown from Southern Comfort. Welcome, guys.
Hello, thank you. It's very nice to be here.
Awesome, guys. Hero, Meltdown, I'd like to welcome you both to the losers bracket. Since this is the first time our audience has actually been able to hear you on the show, before we get into this LAN that you guys are going to be attending this weekend, let's get a little bit of information about the 2 of you. Hero, tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do outside of gaming? How long you've been in the scene? What got you into Halo? Things of that nature.
Hello, my name's Hero. Everyone calls me Jim, like who knows me in real life. Pretty much, I'm a new college student. I'm 18. I've been in the competitive scene for about 3 years now, but I've been playing Halo since beginning of Halo 2. Pretty much what got me into competitive gaming is just my drive to win, and I love competition, and you don't get much of that in daily life as far as, in-your-face kind of confrontations. But it's something where you can just better yourself constantly. So I enjoy pretty much, social life, hanging out with friends, and attending my college in Jacksonville, going to locals and helping out all the local gamers, just trying to get it big in Florida.
Awesome. Jim, thank you so much for coming on the show. And we're going to get to that LAN here in just a second. But first, we've got Robert here as well, VV Meltdown. If you could also share a little bit of information about yourself, what you do outside of gaming, how you got into the competitive scene. Talk to us, my man.
My name's Robert, as you all know, Meltdown. I'm 20 years old. I attend college also, sophomore in college, and currently working at a company called Racetrack. It's a gas station, but trying to move on from there eventually. I got into competitive gaming 2 years ago. My first event was Orlando, 2009, for Halo 3. I loved the tournament drive, and it was just so much fun.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Robert. I'm really glad that you're here. So both of you, guys, I'm really excited because I'm actually going to get to meet the both of you this weekend. We've got this NGL event that's coming up. Let's get some details. What's going on? How you guys feeling about the event? You feel prepared? What do you guys think?
I think our team's extremely well prepared for this tournament. There's a lot of teams going that they're not like real teams. They're just people who are really good and thought because they're good individuals they can come and win. But we're actually a well-practiced team. We've been together for like 2 months, and we have some solid chemistry, and we try and scrim every night. But there's some good players going, definitely.
Yeah, I think some players, I know Legit is from Florida. I know he'll have a team going, and I know that the Ogres are always attending the NGL, so they may make appearance there. So it should be a good turnout. I mean, I'm excited. Well, I think we're very well prepared.
Now, the question I have for you guys is, with NGL coming up and Dallas only 3 weeks away, how have you guys been going about preparing for these tournaments? Because you guys don't have any pro points. You guys have strictly combine points. You guys aren't too well known in the MLG scene. So how are you guys going about preparing, and who are you guys scrimming against to get ready for this?
We've had some actually pretty nice scrims. We've scrimmed teams such as Ability and Poweezy's team. I can't think of their name off the top of my head. And we've been playing a lot of pretty known teams that have pretty high predictions on the open thread. I don't think we've dropped any series except maybe one in like the last month in our practice. But usually we try and watch our films after every practice and just as a team see where we make our own mistakes and fix it the best we can and keep on going.
And also, Dallas, most important to us over the NGL, but NGL has different settings than MLG, of course. I mean, they're very similar, but we've been running over some of the different maps that NGL has, Downfall and Onslaught, which was a Halo 3 map. I mean, I really like the idea of Onslaught.
And my last question would be, with V3 settings finally out, how do you guys feel about them so far? Do you guys liking them? Anything you guys think they should change? What do you guys think?
I personally love the new V3 settings. I feel like it flows much better than the V2 settings. The addition of the 5-second flag return time instead of instant in 5 flag, it pretty much allows your team to have more room for teamwork and actually run the objective, because any one player before in V2 can get lucky and just run into the flag guy as he's running it and get a return, and you have to start all over. But now it punishes your team for going more than one dead. Another team really has more room to operate. I'm personally happy to see that the bomb was changed from 3-bomb to 5-bomb on Zealot, because the game I felt like it ended way too soon when it was 3-bomb.
I'm liking the new map Element also. I mean, flag on it's awesome and Slayer's good. It's a very competitive map, and it'll be excited to see on the circuit.
Well, that's really good to hear. Let's talk a little bit about kind of like where we are right now. If you were to say right now, who are some of the top teams, who comes to mind and why?
Personally, I see Darkest Hour as a top team, just because I've seen Legit play multiple times in local tournaments and just online, and he's just really good at this game. I felt like he transitioned the best out of any pro I've seen so far. He's consistent. I've never seen him not play well.
I mean, I know Sicker Than Your Average was the top team, seeded team and all, but with the team change to Neighbor, I haven't watched any gameplay, so I'm not sure how they'll do. But yeah, definitely Darkest Hour is definitely a team to beat. Status Quo, Instinct, all those teams there.
And what would you guys say is the biggest gossip? What's the big news? What's the thing that a lot of people are talking about?
There's been a lot of people talking in the open thread about connections. Like, there's a lot of teams that people predict that they'll place well at a tournament if they can transition accordingly, because this tournament is really big on new players. It's a lot of new faces making it into the scene, and people just aren't sure how they're going to transition from online to LAN. There are players like Crim6 who've been getting a lot of attention lately because he did big things at a local LAN, and people just aren't sure if he can do it at an MLG scene. And then there's other players that are just, people are questioning like ability. They were a really good team, and people predict them to get top 24 and top 28 and such if they can transition online to LAN. So there's a lot of, ifs and buts, and people aren't sure how it's going to play out because there's just so many new faces.
How do you think Reach will spectate compared to Halo 3? Do you think it'll be more or less spectator-friendly, and why?
Definitely more spectator-friendly due to Sprint. It makes it very fast-paced, exciting to watch. I mean, it may not, on the competitive side, might be the best thing, but I definitely think from a viewer's point that Sprint would definitely make it a better spectating experience than Halo 3.
I feel like the maps, the way it plays out in Halo Reach, it can seem very exciting to a spectator, the way you hold the map, and there's so many ways to break setups and form new setups based on stuff like jetpack and the recently added camo to V3 settings. And there's so many new things that people can maneuver around the map in ways you couldn't in previous Halo games, and it makes strategizing how you're going to move around the map completely different. It's like a whole new ball game. And
also the new weapon, grenade launcher. I mean, there's some kids that are really good with it. I mean, I'm excited to see how that plays out on LAN and at MLG.
And let's bring it sort of back to your team. The first event is always important. I think everybody knows that. For seeding, for reputation, a good first showing usually means the team has a lot more ability to work through problems. There's a lot more chemistry that gets built. How do you think your team's going to do? How do you guys feel about the event? And what would be a realistic goal you guys are going to shoot for?
I personally have total confidence in my team. I feel that at the very worst, we'll get is probably top 28, top 24, because a lot of teams underestimate us, and very few teams actually talk about us because they think that we're simply quote-unquote warriors, like our connection, because we're from Florida. And people just don't realize there's a lot of good players that live in Florida. It's not connection. There's plenty of pros and pro teams that used to live here, such as Straight Rippin' and Monix and a bunch of other top players. But we're looking to upset some teams, and I'm pretty sure we're going to play really solid at this event.
Yeah, I would have to agree with at the least I would be happy with would be a top 24 placing. I mean, that's what we're shooting for. I have full confidence in my team, and I think we'll make a good transition over to LAN, and I'm excited to go to Dallas, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
What do you think is going to be a big challenge for players coming from Halo 3 over to Halo Reach that they're going to have to adjust?
I'd say the biggest thing would be the bloom, the DMR. Some people don't know how to use it too well. I mean, the game's been out for 6 months. The DMR's set. I mean, you're not going to change that. The battle rifle's gone. So I think the thing to overcome would be definitely the DMR.
I feel that it's the players' egos at this point. It's not a technical thing. It's just Halo Reach isn't a simple transition such as Halo 2 to Halo 3 and 1 to 2. It feels like it's a completely different game with the addition of Bloom, as my teammate said, and just everything in general with armor abilities and everything and the way it plays out. And a lot of people just aren't willing to accept that there's going to be a lot of new faces in the competitive scene, and a lot of old players are going to have to fall off. It's that time. It's, the game's changing. It's evolving.
So help me understand how you guys foresee your own team having to prepare for LAN. Obviously, this weekend is going to be a really big opportunity for you guys to kind of work together as a team and get things done. What do you think are going to be some of the bigger challenges that you guys are going to have to work together through?
Personally, we're actually planning on having a LAN the night before NGL. We're going to get a hotel room near where the venue will be so we don't have to worry about traveling. So we're already going to be there, and we're going to invite 2 or 3 local teams to come scrim us, and we're going to practice our split screen and full screen and just get used to using each other's screens more. And we're going to build a lot of chemistry and try and use our time wisely.
Another big thing for us to overcome, I mean, I've never been to Dallas. We're all flying there. We're going to gain a lot of chemistry. I mean, I've never met Jim before, so I'm excited to meet him. I think that all the challenges we've overcome, I mean, we got everything paid for. We have our flights booked. The biggest thing at this point would be LAN and practicing LAN and getting better on LAN.
And if you guys don't mind me asking, you've been around VV Gaming now for a little while. How's it been to be in VVV? What's been the best things, and how are you guys enjoying yourself so far?
Personally, I love it. The community is very friendly and nice. We have a lot of positive comments, and I've met a lot of new people online. People just, when you have the 3Vs in front of you, it's like people want to talk to you sometimes just to see, what you're about and how you do it. It's like you're held to a different standard, and you have to handle it the right way.
Yeah, I love the community here. We've always had positive feedback from you guys. I mean, you guys do a lot for us. We try to stay as active as possible with work and school and Halo, but in general, we love it here. You guys are awesome. We want to stay here as long as possible. We hope to promote you guys well at Dallas, and I'd like to see where it goes.
We can't wait to wear our 3Vs at NGL in Dallas.
Well, I can tell you that we can't wait for you to do so either. I just want to tell you guys that you've been absolutely awesome. The activity is clearly noticed. People know who you are. There's a lot of conversations about wanting to meet you guys. I mean, obviously, there's going to be a huge VVV presence in Dallas. We'll have our Call of Duty teams, our StarCraft players, and obviously you'll be joining us. This will be really, I think, the real opportunity to meet a lot of the players, and you'll have a chance to, see what it's really all about to be at a LAN event, especially an MLG event, wearing those 3Vs. And I want to thank you both so much for coming on the show, and keep doing what you're doing, and I want to wish you just the best of luck this weekend. We can't wait to see the pictures, hear about how you guys do, and hopefully you guys will take home that first place.
Thank you very much, Jerry. It's been an honor being on the Losers Bracket. I listen to this podcast every week.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, we're excited for this weekend, and we appreciate everything you guys do.
Yet again, I have to echo Jerry here. Really excited for you all. Best of luck this weekend. Hey, I'll be there in the crowd cheering you on. I'm looking forward to meeting the both of you.
I can say the same, man. We can't wait to meet you also.
Awesome. Thanks for stopping by.
For those of you who may be attending or may not be, this weekend will be PAX East in Boston, Massachusetts. We talked about it briefly last week. There's a lot of big companies going. The past few days, they've announced a lot of the titles that are going to be there. Epic Games announced that they will have Gears of War 3 there to demo off. Nintendo announcing their 3DS will be having demo stations with Ocarina of Time, Kid Icarus, Pilot Wings, Nintendogs, Lego Star Wars, Dead or Alive, etc. But I think the big thing I'm looking forward to, if you guys haven't heard yet, is 38 Studios, who is owned by Kurt Schilling of the Boston Red Sox, famous pitcher. He's working with R.A. Salvatore and Todd McFarlane, the creator of Spawn, to create this new game that they finally announced on Monday, which is going to be called Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning. We haven't seen too much about the game. We've heard little bits and pieces. Monday, they finally came out and said, yes, we will have it there at PAX East. We will be showing it off, and we'll be having demos of it. They showed off a lot of pictures about it. It's going to be a big title. I think that's going to be one of the bigger things at PAX East, where we don't know much about it, and they do have 3 big people running it. So for those of you going, be sure to come check us out. A lot of VVV gaming community are going to be there from the rhythm gaming section. If not, tune in to G4 TV. They'll be covering the whole event, and you'll hear back from me next week about the entire event.
I gotta say, we're really excited to hear what you all think of PAX East. I know we got a ton of the VVV community members going out there. Basically all of VVV Adrenaline. They've got to defend their title. They won the Rock Band tournament that was there last year. They got to defend that. We've got VVV Applicant Altruit, Etiquette, another Guitar Hero applicant. Tons of the rhythm gaming people are heading out there. Also M-Dog. Really excited to hear what you guys think of all the titles that are out that way. Going to be some really fun atmosphere. Really good time. Can't wait to hear next week. But this week, it has come to the end of the Losers Bracket. And I would like to thank, as always, the VVV sponsors. SteelSeries, Control Freak, MusicSkins.com, GamerLogos.net, and Custom Ink. As always, huge thanks to the VVV community. Your feedback and support is killer. We live for it. Be sure to stop by our podcast homepage. The website for that is vvvgaming.podbean.com. In addition, you can subscribe to us, VVV Gaming. Just type it on in on iTunes or Zune Marketplace. That way you can grab both of our podcasts. This one that you're listening to right now, The Losers Bracket, and our Smash show, Directional Influence. If you have any ideas, suggestions, comments, feel free to email us those. The email address is thelosersbracket, all one word, at vvv-gaming.com. Finally, you can always follow us over on Twitter. The account is simply known as Losers Bracket.
All right, everybody. Have a great PAX East weekend. Enjoy your local LAN tournaments this weekend, and we'll see you next week on the Losers Bracket. Take care, everyone.